Assalamu alaikum, peace. It's Nyla, Coach Nyla.
Assalamu alaikum, peace, Fatima, Coach Fatima.
We're co-founders and co-wives and co-founders of OutstandingPersonalRelationship.com. So,
Yep, yep, yep,
Outstanding
yep,
Personal
yep.
Relationship. Welcome to our Sunday live, guys. This month, we are going to be talking about health.
Yeah.
Yes, health and different types of health. Health is not just a physical. I know a lot of us know that. Um, we're gonna give you guys a few minutes to come into the room and all that other good stuff. So make sure you guys are sharing because sharing is caring.
Caring.
Make sure you are make sure you like, comment,
Comment,
subscribe
subscribe.
because we will be answering questions on this live as well.
Yeah.
What else? YouTubers, people on YouTube.
Yeah.
Make sure you click that bell. If you're not on YouTube and you guys are watching us from IG and Facebook and all that other good stuff, make sure you guys also go to YouTube if you haven't already and click that subscribe button and click that bell so you get notified when we go
When we
live
go
or any
live.
of our videos, when we upload any of our videos on our YouTube channel. We're inching on to our 1,000 subscribers because of you guys. So thank you, thank you, thank you. We are very appreciative of that. So let us know where you guys are watching us from. We definitely love to see that. And yeah.
And send your questions.
Ah,
Like my
Zainab,
coworker
assalamu
says.
alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum, Zainab. Alaikum salam.
Oh, my Jitas. Assalamu alaikum. Walaikum assalam.
Assalamu
So,
alaikum. Nice to see y'all this
so,
morning.
So we're going to talk about health. We're going to talk about like
Yeah.
the different types of health and its effects on your relationships. Because sometimes we don't understand how the way we treat ourselves, the way we how we treat ourselves and how we take care of ourselves actually bleeds in or bleeds on other people around us
Right.
as well.
Exactly.
So we'll talk about this month is our month of health. We're talking
Health.
about that. We always do themes for the month. And last month's theme
Connection.
was connection.
Yeah.
This month's theme is health.
Health.
And health is very important because people were like, well, okay, this outstanding personal relationship. So, yeah, your relationship with your health and how your health affects your different relationships. So, we're going to talk
Right.
about mental health. We're going to talk about spiritual health. We're going to talk about physical and emotional
Emotional.
health.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think about the other two. So, yeah, the four types of health.
And it's important. What's so nice is that we kind of have it in our head what our themes are going to be. And it's
Mhm.
so awesome that health is landing
Oh, yeah.
on this month. Spring is coming. And I saw something the other day, was it yesterday or the day before? And it was talking about how the earth would just continue
Mhm.
without us and just, it would thrive,
Yeah.
And it's like, that helped me spiritually, but it's so beautiful that we have that as a theme with this quarantine and this
Right.
illness going on. And some of us, when we with each other too much, even the animals are like, we all just go out
Yeah,
of the
it
house.
messes up
It messes.
the normal is what is it, the self quarantine or the safe at
Yes.
home and a lot
And
of
the
other stuff.
distancing.
The distancing, the social distancing is affecting a lot of people. There was an
Yeah.
article that I heard about a guy who committed suicide, and they talked about because of the quarantine, but it was other underlying issues,
Yeah.
other underlying health issues that
Right.
could have caused that to happen. But that could have been what they say, the straw that broke the camel's back.
Right.
So when it comes to your health, and we're going to get into spiritual health on this live, what are you doing? Because that's the foundation.
Right.
When it comes to health, what is what are you looking at? What is your life looking like spiritually?
Yeah.
Because with me, that grounds me. It
Oh
keeps
yeah.
me in check. It keeps me grateful. It keeps me humble. Those type of things like
Exactly.
that. It keeps me, from not knocking people upside the head that
Yeah.
they definitely deserve to be knocked upside the head. So it's
Just
certain things
saying.
like, how does that affect your relationship with other people? Like,
Right.
so my spiritual health has to be on point, especially during times like this,
Yeah.
especially during times where it's you got people that are it's not, to me, it's not about the virus that's going on,
Right.
so to speak. It's not about that for the most part. It's about how people are handling the information, how
Right.
people are handling the news, how they're
The
handling
mania
each other.
around it.
And you got people who are not in their, it seems like, I mean, of course they're not used to this. Who is used to this? I don't know. The last time, we had a pandemic was,
I can't even. It's been a
you guys,
while.
if you guys know, I'm putting it down. There's been, a long time. I don't think we had anything like this in not that I
Yeah,
could
I've
remember
not seen
anyway.
it.
Not that
Yeah.
I had to deal with, where it's this quarantine, where it's you can't really go a lot of places and things
Right.
that we joke about it. I mean, as though we do take it serious, but we do have to have some humor in the
We
madness.
do.
So, we'll joke about, staying at home, or, not being able to
Introverts
go out,
thriving.
and the introverts thriving and different things like that. But
Yeah.
being really engrossed in your spiritual health is a
Ooh.
great way to deal with depression,
Yeah.
because a lot of people during this time are relapsing into, if they were
Yes.
depressed before and they were doing other things that were probably prescribed to them other than medication to
Right.
go out and do.
They're relapsing and withdrawing.
Yeah,
You
so
know,
you
it's
got
like
that.
it's withdrawal from other things.
Hmm.
It's the I was thinking about if my dad was still around. I'm like, if he couldn't get his drink and he needed it, what what would that look like for him? And the addiction part of
Yeah.
his life. He was super super smart, but
That
he
was the thing
just
too, like what you said with
was an
addiction.
alcoholic.
They were saying that because of the social distancing and things being closed, a lot of people who were in AA and were going to depending on these meetings and different things like that,
Yes.
they are relapsing.
Methadone clinics and
Hmm.
things like that. Certain things are, even with certain food banks being closed, even with us with our masjid, our local masjid, it doesn't have 5 daily prayers,
Hmm.
and I noticed that a lot of the men, they need that. We all do, but they go
Yeah.
to the masjid
Yeah.
to each prayer oftentimes,
Hmm.
and they don't have that. And we're all, what's interesting about this too, a lot of people that we know, friends of ours, different clients, and I used to be around their family this much. So
Right.
it's like, how do you deal with that if your family doesn't have an essential job and now you all are in the house or someone's laid off? Where does your spirituality come into play with that? It's
Yeah.
like the relationship with the creator, you know,
Keeps us
is
focused on what's important,
refocusing
I
on
think.
him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's the important thing, because sometimes, and Zaina, yeah, alhamdulillah,
Alhamdulillah.
perfect topic before Ramadan. Yes.
Yeah.
Because that's okay. As Muslims, we we know the importance of, being grounded in
Yeah.
our deen.
We know what can happen if we're not.
Right. And the thing is that, it's like, okay, alhamdulillah, we have the 5 prayers throughout the day. And it's like, okay, pray. And you have this, it's almost like this refresh,
Yeah.
even if you're going through um, turbulent, some turbulence throughout your day, or some issues or problems throughout your day. Well, with me, so to speak, if I have some issues, when I pray, I feel a whole lot better. A
Right.
whole
You're
lot better.
recharged.
So this recharge. So, it's definitely, we look at this divine wisdom of these 5 daily prayers that we have as Muslims, our obligation as Muslims
Right.
to make. And it's definitely during this time, it to me, it keeps the sanity, it keeps you
Yeah,
sane.
it keeps you
it,
sane. You have to
it
have
definitely keeps you
something.
sane, because it's like, okay, um, what's the I think sometimes it helps you look into the lessons
It
of it.
does.
It's like
It
you look
does.
into it with deeper meaning.
Right.
Comment below if you guys agree.
Yeah.
That it keeps you to the point where it's like, okay, what's the deeper meaning of this?
Hmm.
Maybe I need to maybe I need to self-quarantine so I can get in touch with maybe I was so busy and running
I see
throughout
that
my
it slowed us
life.
down.
Right.
It
And so,
slowed us
maybe
down.
I need to have a seat and figure out, what's best for me. Maybe I need to work on other areas of my health. Maybe I do need to work more on my spiritual health because maybe I was so busy chasing the money,
Yeah.
and the money affected my family, the money affected my relationship with them and all this other stuff. Like, I was thinking about with Shailene Johnson. She was talking about how she was chasing that money,
Yeah.
and it broke her
Yeah.
family down.
Yeah.
Like, she wasn't realizing that she was part of the problem as well. Her husband started gambling. She found out he was gambling, and she was a workaholic, working like 70 hours plus a week. And certain things happened in her life that had to humble her,
Yep.
and a lot of times we always talk about, we always talk about that Allah is the best of planners.
He is indeed.
We may have all this type of plan for our life and these ideas and all these other things like that, but when it all comes down to it, it's like,
He wins. Every
okay,
time. Every time.
now I got to rethink this thing because, now I'm put in this type of situation.
Right.
I do that when it comes to my health. If I or when it comes to all the areas of health. Like, sometimes I'll just run. I'll do a lot of
I know,
stuff at
because I be
home,
telling you, stop it.
whatever. And then my
Quit
body
taking
will be
care of
like, break down, or girl, I may trip over a curb. I've done it. It happened before. And it was like, you know what? Maybe that was,
Slow down.
that was
Yeah.
something for me to slow down. That was
That's true.
that type of thing. So in this pandemic, or with this,
Illness.
this illness, this virus, or whatever, where we have to, or we're told that we need to do these certain things, maybe it is that part that's saying, you know what, okay, how have you been living your life? How have you been getting in touch with, your creator?
There's some good in it.
Yeah.
There's some good in it, because it's forcing us to take time, like you were saying, slow down and organize ourselves. I mean, if we have to take this as an opportunity to do those things, and not just look at it as we all on house arrest and can't move around like we want to. And we spoke about this the other day about sitting in someone else's decision.
Right.
Is, we don't have control like we would want it to be, but we have to find the good in it. And go, okay, this is time for me to slow down, refocus my energy, get organized, and start thinking deeper, like you were saying, on these things. It's super important.
There are a lot of things I'm seeing that people are doing online yoga, like yoga
DJ
practices,
battles.
and they're doing a lot of these things, which is really cool.
Yes.
Someone sent to me I was looking at this. I think I want to say it's like Black Women's Retreats or something like that, and they have like this virtual meditations,
Yeah.
virtual yoga, virtual this stuff where you
Yes.
can actually tune into them for free. And it's these guided things, these guided meditations, these guided things that can help you hone in and get in touch with your spirituality.
It's long ladies, y'all. Sorry. Get some stuff done. So, continue, please.
Yeah. Oh, that was the thing with the the women's retreat. So, even during this time, people see how important it is to get in touch with the spiritual self, the spiritual health, and how important that is to keep you grounded. That they're doing virtual meetings or virtual classes or anything like that to connect with people in that way.
And we need that. Check on each other.
So, why is spiritual health important like that? I know you've been talking about it and stuff. Why would you say, what are some of the top reasons we find important?
I found that with me, when I think of spirituality, for me personally, I think about it being an inward look. I'm looking inside myself, so it's an inward look, and I can reflect on what I'm doing and what I'm not doing to bring me closer to the Creator. So it's like I can look inside myself. It's one of the things that I know I can look inside myself versus a physical, um, you know, health, my physical health. That's another thing that you can look inside. But if I'm trying to build muscle, I can actually see it, But if I'm trying to build my spirituality, it's not as tangible as building a muscle that I can put my hand on. So it's like an inward evaluation for me. And then I have to give myself a checklist. Did you do this today spiritually? Because it just helps me be a better family member, whether it's being a wife, it helps me mother better. Because if my spirituality isn't strong, I can't teach my children how to have strong spirituality. And I learn from them too. So I don't ever want to be so old or think I'm so wise that I can't learn from my children. But if they don't see me practicing spirituality, the likelihood that they will is very, I think, in my opinion, goes down a great deal. If they don't see me practicing what I preach.
Indeed. Well, when it comes to different types of health, I know you mentioned the 4 different types. When we're talking about spiritual, mental, emotional, and physical health. When I look at spirituality, we call it spirituality. I mean, we're Muslims. That's kind of obvious. So we don't be like, hey, we're doing something spiritual now or whatever. But I do remember when I was younger reading a quote that talked about it. It made me kind of look at myself. It said, point to you, point to yourself. That wasn't the quote, but that was an exercise. It's like point to you. So I'm going to ask you, point to you, to who you are, point to you. And you might point here, you point at different body parts. But then the quote was that many times we think that, we're living, this physical existence, but in reality, we are spirit living in a physical existence. And with that being said, I mean, as Muslims, we know the ruh, or the spirit, the soul was blown into the body, in the womb, all these different things have occurred, but that's us. That's what's going to be extracted from us, our ruh, our soul, when we die. So we have, this belief system that guides our lens and how we really view the world and our existence, and how our mortal existence in this phase of life is, because there's over 6 different phases of life. I'm not going to be going into teaching all this stuff when it comes to Islam, but the thing is, it gives a foundation. So for me, the best part of what we call spirituality, if you will, is being at the lowest point I possibly can be physically, meaning that my head is on the ground, prostrate to the one that created me, to whom I can have any conversation I want and wish after I've already recited him speaking with me, Allah Ta'ala speaking with me in Quran and prayer. I didn't have that before. Now, our backgrounds, we were all non-Muslims. We weren't going out searching for Islam or for anything like that. We were Lutherans, raised up Lutherans. Oh, did you have a denomination? Baptist. I was going to guess that was probably it anyway. So we were all Christians. But, there came a point in life where we would look for something. We had questions that weren't getting answered. And long story short, we all believed that there was something bigger, there's some higher power, some bigger purpose. But what we were following was not it. And I don't know what you fall necessarily to, what you believe. I mean, got plenty of Muslims on here saying salam. So alaikum salam. Sister Miriam, Zaina, and we didn't tell everybody to let us know where you're from.
Yeah,
we did.
Yeah, we did.
Ain't nobody told us where they're from yet, at least on YouTube. But nevertheless, so we went our own journeys. And long story short, came away with Islam. And I was not interested. Islam was the last thing I was looking for. All right, I already saw the movie Malcolm, and I respected what I thought were Muslims and all that kind of stuff. I respected that, but I wasn't interested in Islam, period. They were too disciplined. That's why I'm a teenager. I'm like, these Muslims, they too disciplined, got to do this, got to do that. And I'm thinking about the Nation of Islam and what they were doing and stuff. And the guy who was telling me about it, first, I'm banging. So I'm, we on the separate sides of the track, you know what I'm saying? So I was a GD. He was an L Rookin. You know what I'm saying? You got the blue, you got the red, different gangs or organizations, whatever you want to call it. So one, we didn't vibe on that level. And then he wasn't doing what's right anyway. So as a Muslim, he wasn't showing nothing about being Muslim. So I wasn't interested that way. But number 2, I was like, I ain't giving them a women, weed, baby back ribs. Nah, I'm not giving up my pig. You know what I'm saying? Wasn't interested. But, questioning your purpose and why you're here and what you've been taught, and not being satisfied with that's called subpar answers, or answers full of bovine excrement. Okay, it wasn't enough for me, so I disowned what I call organized religion, the whole search and all kind of ancient African Kemetic stuff, went to the root of different things and so on, and came back to actually Islam with Surat al-Ikhlas, which is really simple, right to the point. I was like, this is what I believe. And actually just getting the Quran was like, what is this? It's talking basically in what we call first person, talking directly to me. So it engulfs you and pulls you in if you're sincere. So that's our first bit of advice, is to be sincere on your search, on your study, on your connection, because from that point you get purpose. So even with today, there was a guy, he had bipolar disorder and he committed suicide in the UK, and there was an article about it. And I made a comment on it, and it wasn't the best thoughtful comment about it, but yeah, it wasn't the best thoughtful. Sometimes I could not be thoughtful with things, and it was a one-word comment I made about it because I wasn't really impressed with it. But the long story short is, no matter what our situation can be, you still gonna win. You can still win, depending on the lens you look through. If it's winning because you're looking at material things or this external stuff, you're not gonna be satisfied as you with peace. And I never had any type of peace until I got my spirituality together. Now, money, all these other little things had that type of stuff, but still empty and missing. So that's one of the reasons, again, being sincere in your search and in your study, and you'll be guided. So I do want to, again, sorry.
No, it's so true, because I was just thinking about when my search, and it wasn't really, like you said, it wasn't a search. My thing is, I wonder why people believe what they believe. I like to connect with people. So, to me, I always still believe that spirituality is the foundation. So why do you believe what you believe? So that was kind of my thing. And it was the part with Islam, when you were talking about purpose. When I converted to Islam, well, I'm just going to a short little story of how that happened. I went to a Dawah program, which was like an informational program about Islam. And so I went to this program. And before I went to this program, I was studying a little bit. I thought it made sense. It was the truth, all that other good stuff. But I didn't convert to Islam. So I was just like, I don't know. It's all these different things. Like, well, what if people are gonna, how they're gonna look at me? Because when I go in, I'm gonna go in. I'm gonna, look the part. I'm gonna do all of that. I'm gonna do what it said you're supposed to do. Try my best anyway. So I didn't want people questioning me, and I don't know how to give them. I didn't know the answers to give them. But then I thought about it. I'm like, I've been living as a Christian for so long. I don't know how to answer that people be coming to me with. So I'm like, that's no excuse. It's just me making an excuse. So one of the brothers made a comment about, you have no control over whether you live or die, whether you breathe, how you breathe in and out. We don't have that control. We're not saying, okay, breathe now. Stop breathing. Wait, okay, then we don't do that. It's this automatic thing. And I said, wow, I can walk out right here, drop dead, knowing what I knew in my heart, and not convert to Islam. That's, that was not okay for me. So I was like, what do I need to do? I took my shahada, convert to Islam. And then they gave me, Quran, how to pray, all this different stuff. But that evening, immediately that evening, I was like, I know my purpose. Like, I know my purpose. And it was just this, I guess, light bulb, this light bulb goes off in your head. But all this time, when you're living your life trying to figure out something, I was a suicidal teen. I had all this other stuff. So apparently the Christianity part or Baptist part, whatever, wasn't guiding me in the way that I needed to be guided, because I was feeling like crap. But after converting to Islam, bam, I just that evening, it was like my heart was so, I felt this light, like seriously, this is not even a joke. Peace. I felt this light, and I said, and I was at peace. Exactly. It was this peace. And I'm like, my purpose is, my purpose is to worship the Creator. And I felt so at peace with that. And that has been the thing that's been guiding me through my life ever since.
And it's not just a set of rituals. Now, to be clear though, the first person to take a shahada. I mean, I introduced her to Islam and stuff like that as a teenager and all that.
I thought he was nuts.
She was like, yo, this is the truth. This is what it is. Took a shahada before me and everything.
But you know what? I was like, what happened to him? Because where were you at when you started learning
about Islam?
Yeah.
Before I got locked up as a kid.
I think you were locked up, and then he came out with this, and I'm like, on the elevator
All
ain't
right.
going all the way to the top. And then I
Let's
said,
talk,
but what
let's
if
talk
it
about that
is?
real quick too. Let's get some
Like,
clarity.
he's nuts.
I was 16, 17, and technically you can't get incarcerated, all right? Because I was a savage. Can't get incarcerated. Kindergarten to 10th grade,
You were a savage.
Christian school. Yeah, savage. I mean, I was that stereotype.
He
You know what
was
I'm saying? I
old
was
dog,
mad at the world, but
y'all.
I thought I was more Robin Hood. Now, old dog didn't think well. But I was
But
more
people
Robin Hood
said
because
it a
my
lot.
philosophy was steal from the rich, share with the poor. You know, that's at least how I justified it a little bit.
Aw.
Or that Tupac, I got to get mine, so I'm going to take yours. That type of stupidity. Nevertheless, this isn't like when you go to traditional prison, you know, and people convert to Islam, because Islam is a fast growing religion, period, but especially, you know, in prison. So that it was not that. It was no Juma, it wasn't
You weren't
anything. But that same brother who I told you wasn't practicing Islam properly and all that stuff was on the other side of the track, you know, other side of organization wise. He sent me a book. And you locked up, you got none but time. And I got into some trouble. So and he knew I was on my search and everything else. So it was like a 700 some page book. And looking back at it, wasn't all that good, but it was effective and it was good what I needed at the time. So I read that book in like 2.5 days, and then started studying some more, got a Quran and everything else. And that's what kind of started my journey to actually looking at Islam. So, but going back to the whole thing is that there's something that needed to be concrete or to anchor, which is bigger than this. Because if you think about the worst, lowest period in your life ever, the biggest challenge is the thing that was stressing you out the most. And if you've lived life, you've had it. I don't care if someone's died, you may have been close to death or really sick or whatever it may be. If you think about that right now, it passed. It passed. You watching us right now live. So that time, whatever it may have been, has passed. You got some type of relief. Even during that situation, being able to sleep during the situation, as little as it may have been, it still passed. You know, some of the people we know in Quran and Surah Al-Buruj, for example, and I don't want to know football or anything, but those who were in the ditch, they were thrown in the fire, they were killed for their belief. It's described by Allah Ta'ala as the winners. Those were the successful. And this happened, in Ethiopia, I believe. So, you know, that spiritual foundation is the crux to how you see all the rest of it. That will shape how you see mental health and how that's dealt with. It will see how you respect it or don't respect it, or if you decide to take drugs and hormonally, and sometimes it's necessary, or you change and adjust your diet. It deals with how you deal with the physical and whether or not, you know, you going to work out in leggings in front of men, or you got the shorts dude all up on your thighs, and you want, you know, it should guide your life and give you some principles that are, you know, that don't change. Because the fact of the matter is, we haven't changed much as humans. Technology's changed. Now we can stream live, and 20 years ago, this would be like really difficult. 30 years ago, really expensive. 100 years ago, unheard of, really. You know, technology's changed, but we have the same basic organic needs, the need to procreate, the need for communication, the need to travel. We had these same basic things, our followers and stuff like that, brothers and sisters. So, you know, I see a couple are on, I think, Facebook and on IG. So shalom to you, salam or shalom. Either way, peace, definitely welcome. Sister from North Carolina, Abina Elias. So that I don't want to, you know, not about this conversation. I just want to talk about that part, because you said, where was you at? Yeah, I was locked up as a juvenile. You know, thankfully didn't follow my adult record and all that kind of stuff. But there was a pivotal moment in my life, and it was extremely important. And it allowed me to slow down, really, and look at life and do a lot of introspection that you guys are both just talk about. Period. And since that time, you know, changing my name, changing my life, and having people that I was close to and I love. My father, rahimahullah, you know, I became Muslim. He was like, my firstborn child was born. He's like, I'm gonna get baptized and this and that, because he was raised up, you know, Christian, same school, put me through the same school, all that kind of stuff.
Used to go at it.
And he saw that I changed. And something got me, so I gave him some books, different things. And took some time, but you know, he eventually took a shot and became Muslim, which I would have never ever thought. But alhamdulillah. And then my younger brother, just about following me and other brothers and stuff around and traveling with it, he ended up becoming a Muslim before he was killed, rahimahullah. So, and Allah Ta'ala is, again, the best of if you are sincere in your search, you know, we ask Allah Ta'ala to guide you and to go from there. But that laying the foundation part is more important than all the rest.
It is.
So if you have that part down and you lose your mental faculties, or you lose your physical capabilities, or your emotional capabilities, that part is going to be the one that really is the strongest and this foundation that carries you through. At least that's been our experience in life. So prayerfully, people who are at home or considered stuck or what have you, they can choose to either come out fatter, come out more fit, come out with a better understanding with all and recognize the time and how it goes and how we can either utilize it for us or we can continue to waste it. So anyway, that's
Let's take some questions if we don't have.
yes.
anything
All
else.
right. First one, there's a sister. Let's get the question. Promise sister was going to address her question. It's a relatively common question. We have addressed it before, so let's go to it now. Our sister, who will remain anonymous, she said, "How can I help better myself emotionally? She's emotionally being bothered to share a husband with a co-wife intimately." That's the first question. So
Wait a minute,
emotionally,
she
she has
said
an
that
issue with her
fast.
husband intimately in polygyny. She says, "All right, she personally does not keep score, but a co-wife seems to do this or measure our marriage with our husband because we've been together 12 years to her marriage, which has only been 2 months. I'm not sure how to communicate with her. He addressed it with her, but I just try to be patient and look at the bigger picture. Okay, my co-wife only wants 2 nights, so to be just, I get 2 nights, but I would like her husband to give her more nights. Is this allowed without him feeling like I'm giving up my nights? These other nights were agreed to." Okay, so 3 different parts of the question. So one is, how can she work with the emotional feeling of her husband being intimate with another woman? Now, just a little background as well, because we were contacted. And she said that she's known him for 12 years, they've been married 6 years, and they had talked about polygyny many times, and she felt she's okay and good with it and everything. But now that it's happened, she's seeing these. It got really real, really fast.
In theory, it's,
So
it can be.
that's a question for the ladies. So actually deal with that first, because that's a common question, obviously, concern. It's legit.
Yeah, it is. Because we've gotten it many times.
Mhm.
It's a thing that happens. So the intimacy part, we always kind of, I think I know what happened to me is that word share. We've kind of taken that word and it goes in and out of being a good thing and a bad thing. So we'll use the word share. Well, I've had people come up with, "Fatimah, I don't know how you share your husband," and da da da. And they've said it to both of us, and I know secretly some women are going to say, "I don't know how he can split his time. I'd be crazy." Well, maybe that's why you're not a man and you're not in polygyny, because that's not what you were supposed to do with your particular life. But changing your thoughts about the word sharing and thinking about what you're doing with him when you're doing it. I don't care if that's a walk, I don't care if it's dinner. It's all in there together with your particular marriage with him. That's your marriage. Their marriage is their marriage, but it's a marriage not the same, but it has the same rights as yours does. So when you think about what you're doing with him and with your family, um, in your house, then it makes it better. Because I know for me, I had to think about the word sharing and give it a better power than instead of taking something away from the word. I had to make it good when it needed to be good, not just when I wanted it to be good, a good thing. So polygyny, people don't want to hear, "Oh, you got to share time, you got to share your husband." And both of us share him with many, many different people as far as his friends, business, family, our children. We're constantly sharing. So, and he's sharing people with us. We have our time too, to ourselves, where we do things together. She and I spend time together, and he has to wait. So when you have a relationship such as this, it's special, it's different. People aren't used to it, and they're not used to saying share in such a way that is okay for them. It's okay that they share time together. It's okay that we share time together, but I do my best in mine and my own marriage. And we've spoken about that before.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things. Yeah, it's to
And
some
it's only been 2
people.
months. You know,
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
2
got to
months,
keep that
right,
in
right.
mind.
It's in
It's
2 months.
brand new.
So,
You counting in weeks, 8 weeks.
Yeah.
but yeah, so that's the one thing. It's really new. So
Yeah.
please don't be so hard on yourself thinking that it's going to be this immediate thing where it's like this is how I got to be, or I'm not this way, so I'm a failure, I'm a bad wife, or anything like that. We have our emotions, we have our feelings, we have our jealousies. That's the way. It's the way it is. The
Yeah.
thing is being cognizant of it. That's one of the things, being cognizant of your emotions, your jealousies, and things like that. And when it comes to intimacy, my thing is, for one, I don't go there. I mean, not that people, don't, and but if I ever, because people have asked me, I don't go there, but if I have to, where
Yeah,
people
we
have
don't.
asked me, well, how do you feel about this? Or, as Coach Fatimah was saying about the sharing and just the intimacy part, period. I tell people I'm like so different than other people. You will not get the answer that you may expect, that you are looking for from me, because I say, because of how our husband is, I like people to be happy and and have a good, marriage and life, and have a person that's a provider and protector and all that other stuff. So I was like, man, if I could just take him and bottle him up and give to these, women who really need some.
No,
And he ain't trying that. But I'm like, it would be good. And I heard that from Jada. It's so funny because I heard that from Jada Pinkett Smith
Mhm.
before about Will. And I said, I get that. I really get that, because in my heart of hearts, it's like I want women to feel the things that I feel. I want them to feel happy. I want them to feel at peace. I want them to feel the love. And so that's why I look at things a lot differently. And I'm like, okay, well, that's his wife. But if it was asked to me, which it has been, it's like, you know what, I focus on mine, they focus on theirs.
Yeah, that's
And,
it.
but my thing is, him being a wife, I mean, him being a wife, he's not a wife. With him having multiple wives or whatever, the relationship that he has with his wife should be a relationship that they have to, this intimate relationship, because they are in that type of relationship. But it may take people may not ever get to that understanding, or it may take some time. Don't beat yourself up for feeling a certain way. Just find out the things that feel good to you and focus on those things that feel good to you, and think about when you guys are together, how to make that time more meaningful to you. So that's the thing that you're focusing on more.
But you know what? It's if the for our situation, or for our family, and my relationship with Coach Nyla, just on a personal level, we both have an understanding that this is allowed for us to practice. It's allowed for him to practice, and we don't stand in the way of it, if that makes sense. We don't make each other feel bad about it. We don't bring it up. We don't show physical affection toward him when we're around him. If I see them, I hug her. I don't hug Coach Nazir. She wouldn't mind. And but like, and I'm at a point now where I don't mind, because we're not like, oh,
Right.
and all this extra stuff. Like, we pat and we keep it
Right.
moving. But my daughters would mind. Like, I know my 22-year-old, my 19 be like, my 19-year-old are not ready to see that yet, because they're so used to seeing us. So it's something that they're grown. They have to work on that. But we don't get in the way of what Allah allows the other to do. So somebody asked me, and I want to really address that, is that they said, well, Fatima, you could just divorce him, like, boom, and divorce. That's a deeper thing than people throw it out there real fast, and it's a really deep thing to think about, because you can't just throw somebody out of your life so easily. But I said, I wonder, would I divorce him if, for praying his son? You know, is it something that he has to do? Is it something that he's allowed to do? Is it something that is an option for him to do as a Muslim? And so I had to change my thinking on some things that were the Sunnah, and some things that he wanted to do in his own personal life. He's not me. I'm not him. So, and one of them was, he gets to have another wife, and they get to have kids. And I know how people have kids. I know how they get them, because I know how I got mine. So I had to go, okay. So then if he can have a wife and then he can jump to the children, there's an action that has to happen before that. And I had to go, okay, there's steps to this. There's steps to Islam, there's steps to growth, there's steps to expanding a family. And I have to be okay with those steps, you know, and fall back a little bit.
Well, alhamdulillah, that's similar to what Abdullah has stated. Alhamdulillah, she said, you know, when she was forced to think about it or something like that, she didn't think about it in general. But she kept telling myself, He's doing Allah has allowed so much chill, giving gifts and offer salat with them, allowed her to be more sane. Alhamdulillah. I got to address this one question because there's other parts that we're going to address for the sister. But really quickly, I don't know what there's this thing says, Coach Nazir, how are they going to pronounce this? Striving Muslima. So you said monogamy doesn't work in today's time, yet I'm assuming you would be okay with your children choosing it. Is that not a contradiction? One, it's an absolute contradiction. Two, I didn't say that.
Right.
With all due respect, Islam promotes marriage in general, and when it comes to two types, that's a matter of choice, to each their own. Absolutely, I agree. Now, let's get some clarity here. We are pro-morals. That's it. Pro-morals, meaning we're pro-marriage. Doesn't matter if it's monogamy or polygyny, but it should be marriage. Now, I do think that polygyny there's a dire need for polygyny. Okay, not just amongst the Muslim community, amongst humans in general. All right, women are getting abused. I mean, right now with this quarantine, the spike in domestic violence that is going up against women in particular, likely some men too, is huge. All right, so when we talk about women just marrying a man, there are so many women are at such a disadvantage right now. How do I know that? Because I have several daughters that I'm the wali for, and I'm currently trying to find a man that's suitable to marry my daughter. And now my daughter, she doesn't want polygyny. This daughter that I'm talking about right now, she doesn't. She says, she prefers monogamy. No problem. You know what I'm saying? No, none at all. And I'm letting the people who I'm in talks with and stuff know that. Now, then I also have another daughter that says she prefers, polygyny and wants her husband to have 4 wives.
But she must be the first.
Right, she wants to be the first. So with that being said, again, it's about pro-morals. So where you got that I said monogamy doesn't work in today's time. No, well, monogamy basically is, you have to understand where it came from. It's only been around the last few hundred years, if you will, and it's only to protect men. And what I mean by that, there's a book called Islamic Polygyny. Many people have read with Bilal Phillips and I think Jamila Jones or something. But Hafidhullah, but which is whatever you want to call them, side chicks, everything else. But this is the legal one right here. Therefore, that's the one that crowns, but men are still going to play. See, polygyny requires that you become more. That if you want to go play or you want to grow, whatever you want to do, you need to marry and honor that other person. So how does that affect today's society? Well, I live in a city right now where 80% of households are led by single women, single parent households. All right, because of a lot of situations and a lot of stuff going on. But single parent household thing is on the rise so much so that now it's normalized. When I was a kid in the 80s, there wasn't no baby daddy, baby mama stuff. That came out in the 90s with some different songs. Who that is, my baby daddy, all that kind of stuff. That started. Now it's BM, that's common. So, and I lead, different youth groups and stuff that we're talking with where they're having sex 14, 15, 16 years old, not as though we didn't from that era, not as though we were immune from that. We know that we came from that life. But Islam instilled in me, again, the spiritual foundation, that there's a way to handle it and to do it morally. So I got married at 19 because I already know what I was. I'm not trying to be like my parents. They had me when they were 16. Okay, so, there's a whole process to it. But the point goes into, it's about pro-morals. So if you marry one woman, you marry 4 women, and you're doing what you're supposed to be doing on a moral basis to protect women, protecting the sanctity of marriage and family, which is what polygyny is about in particular. We're not talking about polyamory or polyandry or any other type of poly. We're talking about polygyny specifically, which is more family-based. Many times you see this polygyny or you see poly things, it's more about sex. So you see the pictures, it's all these women on this man, he's like all over them. That's okay, that's not the normal picture of polygyny. Normally, there's children and stuff involved. We got a dozen children between us. Dozen, we 3. So multiply that by 4. And they stay about, that's plenty, you know what I'm saying? But when you're leading with morals, you want to plant those seeds and prayerfully they come to fruition to something good that continues on. Okay, so I need to address that quickly because no, monogamy is not wrong. I was married monogamously for 15 years before starting to practice polygyny for the last 10. So that's neither here nor there, but we need to clarify that real quickly. All right, so back to the sister though, and I know we have a little bit of time, but not much. We have a little time, so that's how she can kind of help being bothered emotionally. Personally, I don't keep score, but a wife or co-wife seems to keep score. She's open with her, but her co-wife is like, kind of shut out when she tries to communicate with her and blowing her off. So I stopped trying to talk with her unless I really need to. I talked to her husband about it. He addressed it, but he's saying be patient. She tries to be patient and look at the bigger picture. So you have any advice there? And then also, well, the last part we could just respond by email on that, because that's a matter of personal preference, how many nights and going back and forth and all that. It's really whatever you agree to. Islam allows the flexibility, but the man must be just and fair. So whatever you guys agree to can and should happen. Okay, so that's the short answer for that. But do you have anything so far as to keep score or try to communicate? Keeping in mind that it's only been 2 months.
Yeah, that's the part.
Yeah, that's
It took Coach Fatimah and I years. So it may not take you years. But yeah, so the patience, I do agree with what your husband was saying, the patience. And it's a good thing. And I applaud you for coming to him with, your concerns and things as far as that, and you being open and in developing a relationship with your co-wife. The thing is that, just as though that may require patience for you to get past or through the part of the intimacy part, she may need some time to get through certain issues that she may feel some insecurities, because me being an incoming wife, I had the insecurities of them being not only just married 15 years, but they known each other well until they were like childhood sweethearts to me in my mind. So that's, and they were.
Yeah.
So my thing is that
only children.
Before the beard,
yeah.
before the mustache.
So my thing is that I got that. Those were things that got to me, because I'm like, I am a romantic. And because I'm a romantic, those things are so beautiful to me. And that's something that I would want in my life.
Yeah.
I don't have that in my life. I didn't have that in my life because I didn't know him or them or anything like that when I was younger. So I don't have that. The thing is that but
a little bit older.
But I had to get past that point. And it actually took time for me. So that's the thing where, we all have our insecurities. We all have our things that we may need someone to practice patience with and patience on. And that might be her thing, but don't, well, my suggestion is don't give up. You don't have to push. Please don't push. I didn't do that with Coach Fatimah, but, the being open to whenever she came around, that would be, we can move forward from there, and not bringing up old stuff or, you was like this to me and, we need to get past this. No, it's just, okay, be open, be patient, and, pretty much do the best that you can do with what you have.
And make dua.
Make dua. Yeah, exactly.
Make
Plenty
dua.
dua. Specific dua.
Yeah.
Not just a general. Very, very specific in what you want, and you will be surprised and grateful at the answering of it and the way it takes shape. And Srabi Muslim, no problem, says you don't need to apologize. You could have heard something that sounded like I said monogamy ain't working.
Yeah, because
monogamy works. Even like a sister Tamara was talking about. She said, I agree with y'all saying. And she's about to be, a co-wife, a second wife, and she, follows the Bible and stuff like that, and believes in more than ever. And that's how you restore order and righteousness in our communities in these last days. So blessing to you too, sis. I'm allowed to honor and guide. Actually, my soon-to-be husband signed up for your courses, and it's simply amazing. Bless you, sisters.
That's awesome. Alhamdulillah. Thank you.
I had nothing to do with it, right? No, don't bless me. Okay, just play. Just play. Okay, now there's a question. The sister's talking about. She asked a question. She said she's often wondered if the husband has any. I'm looking here, which I hate doing because we want to look up here to the cameras. Right. But she says she's often wondered if the husband has any feelings of guilt when he's going back and forth intimately between his wives. We know it says right, but does he ever have these feelings? And Sister Zaina said a person following the Prophet should never feel guilty. It's a rewarding act. And then of course we're still humans and emotions. Anyway, it's a good conversation that's going on there. But I at least wanted to acknowledge it. So I restore order. Okay. So check Facebook real quick in closing. So what are you doing to further your spiritual foundation and keep up your spiritual health? Like right now, as we're recording, our sons, we had, well, two of them. What was that, third? A third of them.
Right.
No.
Yes.
It's
Third, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, it is.
Because there's 6.
Yep, my mathematician's next to me. Yes. So a third of my sons, the two eldest sons, they're studying the Arabic and stuff right now. So they have to get on the sarf and nahu and stuff like that because it's important to get it in your life and to have it. And when we have this time, and the Prophet ﷺ let us know that there are 2 things that we abuse, the children of Adam abuse more than anything, and that's health and spare time. So we don't have time to spare, so we can be greedy, and I'm going to actually be greedy and be selfish to trying to get as many blessings as you can get and utilize your time for the best, and to be cognizant and really aware of the many different things, opportunities you had that you may not have taken advantage of or put on the back burner, and to utilize it now. You know, one of my friends, he had mentioned, he said, man, if a person doesn't come out of this with some type of side hustle or understanding how to grind
Just
better or
saying.
be better, then they're a poor excuse to be useless, really. You know, because you have all this time to do it, and if you say, well, if I have the time, I have the time. Now you got the time. In general, you have the time. So utilize that time to make yourself better. But what are you guys doing when it comes to strengthening that foundation of your spiritual foundation in life? I want to hear that before we wrap up.
Yeah,
I'd like to hear that.
definitely share that, because what you are doing may help somebody else and give them some ideas as well.
Yeah, and outstandingpersonalrelationships.com. The sister did mention, she said her husband signed up for the courses and is getting great benefit from it, both of them. So that's great. You can go to outstandingpersonalrelationships.com and download the 5 keys PDF.
Yeah.
That'd be good. Go ahead and do that, and then we have some information coming out in addition to that. So y'all gonna dig it.
You guys,
I believe so.
Good stuff.
so make sure you subscribe if you have not already. Subscribe to the doggone email list, because we got some good stuff coming very, very soon.
Yeah.
You guys do not want to miss it. I mean, like, soon as in like there's a week coming up soon. So
Indeed.
Stay tuned.
So make sure you plug into the email list, because if you're not on the email list, you just on social media, then you're missing out different events and different things that we having privately, and when we private live stream through our website as well. So Sister Courtney, we don't, first of all, we can probably put you to something, but if you email us support@outstandingpersonalrelationships.com, then we can send you some different links to some different stuff. But that's not what we do. Again, we are Muslims who practice polygyny, but we're talking to everybody specifically about polygyny, and the reason, and marriage, period, whether it's polygyny or otherwise. One, because there's usually not a face to it. There's not many resources. When we were looking for things on polygyny, we saw some little basic books. Some of it talked about it academically. You can see some benefits, but there wasn't something that was ideal and real that dealt with it from multiple perspectives, and that you can implement really in your life. So that's why we want to stay in this area with marriage, with parenting, with polygyny in particular, to empower people and equip people from there. Because we wish we could have had a lot more going in. I know I wish, and then wise as well. But we don't go there, and there are many more people. We're not scholars. We're not claiming to be scholars. We're not trying to teach you your deen. We practice the deen. We try to get better. We ask Allah to make us better than you imagine us to be, and to grant us forgiveness for our errors and our mistakes, and that we die in the state of Islam and get Jannatul Firdaus without reckoning. So with that being said, though, any last closing remarks on maybe something they could do on their spiritual foundation quest as we get ready to wrap?
Get started. If you're not, get started.
And like you said, be sincere. Be sincere in your journey. Don't be so hard on yourself if and when you fall on your face. Because we do it.
We're gonna do it. Check IG.
So that type of thing. That's pretty much like Coach Fatimah said. Get started. Be sincere in your search, and don't be so hard on yourself, because it's a journey. Realize that it's a process. It's the destination is getting better in having this this inner peace. Like what they said on Kung Fu Panda, inner peace.
And I found out when I was sincere, it didn't blow up in my face.
Oh yeah.
When I was insincere, it always blew up in my face. So careful about your movement.
It definitely checks you.
It does. Big time.
All right. So at this point, we're about to go ahead and wrap. If you are not connected with us on YouTube, please do. subscribe, hit the notification bell if you like what we're doing. Like this video, share this information with others, obviously, to get the same reward as well. Outstandingpersonalrelationships.com is where you can really connect with us, get on our email list, get some private invitations, and go deeper. And also, should we say anything about this thing? Nothing.
Nope.
All right.
I gotta stay tuned.
Get on the
So make
email
sure you get
list.
on the email list because we're
Nope.
only gonna
Nothing.
send this out to our email subscribers and we're gonna
Yeah.
send a blast out. So make
What's
sure
the
you're on
next
that list or
Sunday?
you're gonna
Yeah,
miss out.
this week. So yeah, for sure. That's gonna be dope. For real. All right. Anything else? No?
No,
Yeah,
that's
we're
it.
good.
All right, good stuff.
All
Well,
right, thank you guys for
Nice
joining
seeing you
us on
guys.
Sunday Live.
indeed, remember that it's about that GLC, that growth, that love,
Love,
and connection. That's what we want to help bring as much as we can as we're learning and growing. We're not finished products. Definitely still works in progress. All right. So with that being said, we appreciate you tuning in. Share this information. Coach Nazir signing off. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Peace.
Assalamu alaikum.